All right. So first off, I wanted to ask, I know you're in Israel right now. How are things near you?
So I live in Beit Shemesh, which is a outer suburb essentially of Jerusalem. Um, while it is, you could say, somewhat peaceful, you can still pretty much hear everything that's going on. Even if you don't actually have to run to a bomb shelter because there are no sirens, you can hear absolutely every single boom um, from Iron Dome protection from Tel Aviv all the way to Jerusalem, where we kind of make like a triangle between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and you can hear absolutely everything, nonstop sound of jets flying overhead, low flying helicopters. It's pretty scary and unnerving.
Mm. Do you know anyone living in the affected areas?
Yeah, quite a few people, both through work, through Adi Negev Nachalat Iran, and not. And horrific things. My Facebook feed, unfortunately, is just filled initially post the holiday on Saturday night. There were a lot of posts of people who were missing. Um, some of those posts were updated with, thankfully, she has been found. In one case, it was unfortunately he was found dead.
Mm.
It was someone's son, and it's just devastating.
And I wanted to also ask about the state of things at Adi Negev. Are there any special steps you have to take to keep its population with disabilities safe in these times?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we talk about for years and years, we've talked about the necessity of Jewish National Fund USA building more and more of their bomb shelters because in places like Sderot and other southern communities that are close to the Gaza border, you have, what is it, 10, 15 seconds to actually get to a bomb shelter. Even though Adi Negev Nachalat Iran is 25 miles away from the border, we have 0 seconds because we're dealing with a population that is using walkers and wheelchairs and beds. They don't have the mobility to run to a bomb shelter. We physically need to be there already. So we need to rely on, first of all, our amazing staff and volunteers, the angels who care for our angels. That's what we call them. But we also have to rely on some really, really high tech intelligence to understand that even if there are just the murmurings of any kind of security threat, we need to be operating out of our protected spaces, whether it's over nighttime or even during the daytime, because again, we can't run to where we need to be. All of our residents, all of our special education students with severe disabilities, all of our rehabilitation patients who are also touched by disability for a moment, they can't run. And they certainly can't deal with the stress of getting to a protected area. They just physically need to be there already.
Have you practiced for something like this before? Like, do you do like drills at Adi Negev or anything like that?
Yeah, so all the time. We do all different kinds of drills. At the beginning of the summer, we actually had a massive fire drill with the local fire department. They came and they did all different kinds of drills, including a really, really harsh situation kind of drill with, what if the hospital, a rehabilitation hospital was filling with smoke, or what if, they had breached our borders and we needed to get different places and things were burning and all different kinds of really horrible things. We practice for it. Luckily, again, by the grace of God, even though some of the most intense fighting was going on around the areas closest to Adi Negev. The town of Ofakim, the development town of Ofakim, is just 2.5 minutes away by car. And some of the worst brutality happened there. Nothing, nothing happened at Adi Negev. We heard shooting in and around the area. There were clearly vehicles that were being operated by terrorists that were whizzing by, but nobody even approached.
The initial email I received mentioned that the Adi Negev's medical center was opened up to any potential casualties or people who were injured. Have you needed to take anyone in yet?
Yeah, we did. We absolutely did. So we started the whole asylum element of what we've been doing over the last couple of days on Saturday itself. In the middle of the holiday, as you know, you had the the nature party, the all-night festival that happened at Kibbutz Re'im, and there were 1,300 people there who they were once sunup came, they were still partying, and immediately they were targeted by Hamas terrorists, who first barraged them with missiles, and then as they fled, tried to knock everyone down with machine gun fire. Again, that Kibbutz Re'im is like right next to the Gaza border, and yet we had 6 young women who traveled by foot the 25 miles to get to Adi Negev. They took asylum with us, and we held on to them until police forces came and actually identified all of them and took them back to their homes. It was at that point that we realized that we needed to do more. It wasn't just about sheltering ourselves, taking care of ourselves. We needed to make sure that we were taking care of others. So we have the Keli Rehabilitation Medical Center at Adi Negev, the first ever rehabilitation medical center in Israel South, a phenomenal project we opened last June with Jewish National Fund USA. And we have our first 2 wards open. And we did everything in our power to make additional beds, make additional rooms, and contribute to the national effort by making sure that if anyone needed triage, if anyone needed care, whether from the massacre that went on in Ofakim or from the festival or anywhere else nearby, we wanted to make sure that they were being taken care of instead of having to make a long and uncertain journey to Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Herzliya, Haifa, wherever the next hospital might be.
How was your experience as an American living in Israel during this time of crisis different from a native Israeli citizen? If there is any
That's an
substantial
interesting
difference.
question. No, I think there really is. You know, when I decided to make Aliyah, it was a long time ago. I've been here in Israel for 15 years, living in Beit Shemesh. But the decision to make Aliyah came a very long time ago. When I was here studying for the year in 1998, I officially made the decision when I saw how my sister was bringing up her children. I realized that this is something that I wanted for my family. And I took into account then the fact that, you know, there's going to be all different kinds of unsavory things in the world. And there's different kinds of violence. And, you know, growing up in Baltimore and spending some of my formative years in New York, I knew that there was one kind of violence. Things like, you know, carjackings and shootings of things of that nature. And it seemed very, very random. And then, of course, you have what seems to be an annual war, or even semi-annual war here in Israel. And it's also, it seems, you know, like it's just never ending. But I guess what I put my finger on early on was that it seemed like whenever there was violence going on here, there was several different feelings that crept up for me. One is that I felt an immediate desire to help others, not just to shelter in place, not just to take care of myself, not to run away and hide, but to take care of others. And that's something that you have continuously see here that I really don't think exists here in the Jewish state. There is this incredible, pervasive feeling of we need to take care of everybody else. And that just I don't think it existed elsewhere. As wonderful as the many Jewish communities are in North America, and I know they're mobilizing to help, I feel like there's a different level of that going on here. of everyone wanting to get out and wanting to help. That's one. And two, it's just that there's a feeling of wanting to protect the homestead. I kind of feel like I want to make sure that, of course, my neighborhood is okay, that Adi Negev is okay, but I want to make sure that absolutely every corner of the Jewish homeland is okay. And I think that the ability as a, hopefully this really brings it back to the question you asked. I think the ability as an American to speak both languages, to have both experiences, to be able to bridge the gap, to help people understand what's going on over here so that everyone around the world can start channeling that same energy that just exists here right away, I think is important. I know all too often Americans, for example, feel helpless, right? And they resort to saying, that they're sending their prayers, and they change the pictures on their social media to show support. But what I'm able to do is I'm able to take their involvement to the next level and say, you know what? It really makes me feel good when I scroll through my Facebook feed and I see all of you changing your pictures and posting photos of the last time you were in Israel and saying we're with you. But you know what else you could do? You could give to Jewish National Fund USA's 30-day campaign. You can make an immediate impact right now. We need to raise $10 million. And if you give $5, that's $5 less that we have to raise. That's, more housing and transportation and hygiene kits for the displaced, and protective equipment for communities and for reservists. All of that, it's real. It's real stuff that you can do. So one of the greatest things that I would say is the benefit that I have is that ability to bridge the gap, to show opportunities, to take it from something passive support to very, very active support.
Yeah, and the JNF campaign was something I wanted to ask about like where the money is going towards, and if there's any like significant contributors that have shown up already.
So the campaign was from JNF USA, was just launched yesterday officially. I know that we have so many amazing JNF USA donors who Adi Negev is so close to their hearts. They immediately pledged their support from coast to coast. Those who are in Maryland, New Jersey, and New York, all the way to Northern and Southern California, and they're already making an impact. Again, as I mentioned before, for right now, there's really going to be several stages of this campaign. Again, it's a 30-day campaign to raise $10 million. And the initial focus is going to be things like housing and transportation and hygiene kits for the displaced, protective equipment for communities and reservists, and everything else that is needed immediately. As time goes on, however, please God, this war should end soon. But even after the active fighting is over, we are still going to need to rebuild. And this emergency fund from JNF USA is going to help with that rebuilding. Rebuilding homes, rebuilding communities, providing all of the physical and emotional support to get people and communities in the South and elsewhere in Israel back up on their feet. It's going to be a long process. So this campaign is really, really important. From Adi Negev, I'll just tell you that this campaign is so crucial right now. I think we too will have a rebuilding phase, but we have some serious urgent needs right now. Towards the end of Saturday evening, we had 30 soldiers, a full battalion of soldiers came to the rehabilitation village, and they've been stationed there ever since. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that these 30 soldiers heroes who have been protecting us are treated appropriately. We've been feeding them and caring for them appropriately, but we are running out of funds to do so. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that they are taken care of. and we need the appropriate funds to make sure that they are receiving hot meals and they are strong and feel like they can do the job that they were asked to do. Second, we need to focus on our staffing. In addition to security, we need to make sure that we have the right staff. Many of our staff members, unfortunately, are still unaccounted for. We had, immediately following the holiday, following Shabbat, we started making calls around. We heard horrible stories of how several staff members' families were brutally murdered or killed by missiles. Several other staff members simply were not reachable. We still can't find them, and we're afraid that the worst might have happened, though we're hoping for the best as we continue to reach out for them. Yet other staff members have been evacuated to faraway places, and others are tethered to their homes because they have children at home, like the rest of us do. There's no childcare. Everything's been canceled. There's no school. So we are doing two different things. One is we want to immediately open a childcare program at Adi Negev for the children of these staff members, so that they can in fact come from home to work, know that their children are being cared for close by, under their watchful eye, and they can have peace of mind so they can do their job, which is caring for our residents and our rehabilitation patients, the most vulnerable people in the state of Israel right now. And two is we have a couple of newly opened apartments on campus. Those were intended for volunteers, international volunteers, but right now we're going to use them for several families who actually lost their homes. They're currently homeless, whether their homes were destroyed by rockets or they were burnt. Some of them lived in Ofakim and their houses were burnt to the ground. They're totally homeless and they need a place to be. So we want to make sure that they're taken care of. They will be in our loving, warm embrace at the village. And at the same time, we'll have them nearby to make sure that they're constantly there to do the job that, once again, we're asking them to do, to care for the most vulnerable members of Israeli society. And again, all of this is going to be under the umbrella of this amazing emergency campaign from Jewish National Fund USA.
And is there anything else you want to add that you want people to know about this whole situation, how you're doing, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for everyone to realize, the news is horrific, the news coming out of Israel, and people are consistently referring to looking through social media as doom scrolling. It seems like there is just nothing good to see. But we urge them to look to places like Adi Negev, Nachalat Aran. In happier times, I like to refer to Adi Negev, Nachalat Aran, a place where we are focused on drawing out the greatest potential of people who were told they don't have potential, maximizing abilities of people who were told they didn't have abilities, as the happiest place on earth, the real happiest place on earth. But at a time like this, I think it can be repackaged as the focal point of humanity in a very, very volatile region. You have a situation where you see this horrific violence that's going on, again, just 2.5 minutes away in Ofakim. And yet, if you look at Adi Negev and you see the kindness and the happiness and the joy and the desire to grasp onto life rather than to cause death, you see the yin and the yang. As much as evil is pervasive, as much as it seems like there is doom and gloom everywhere, the truth is that there's always going to be, the true strength is going to be in those who seek life and want to promote helping others, raising others up through humanity and through love. So while all of your readers are doom scrolling, I urge them to check out what's going on at Adi Negev, Nachalat Aran, and it will put not only a smile on their face, but a little bit of hope in their hearts.
Well, that was everything I wanted to ask. So I want to thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jillian. I really appreciate it. If you have any other questions, I urge you to please follow up. I can, if you like, I can send you a couple of pictures. I just got
That
some
would be great,
really great
actually.
pictures.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was going to send you some pictures, a really great picture that I just got today. And if you need anything else, you let me know.
That would be perfect. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. All the best.
You too. Bye-bye.